Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over this really good email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy. He's a young guy, sounds like he's mid-20s at best. And he's going to share his story about how he learned firsthand at a young age all about gold diggers. All about the lengths they will go to have access to your wealth. You're going to see in the story, guys, that this young guy, he comes from a family with a lot of money. Now, I don't know how many generations his family has had money, but he said his dad is big into real estate, loads of dough, and you're going to see here, throughout his life, he had many lessons, but then he met that one girl that really got his attention, he really liked. And you're going to see in this story, guys, how she treated him initially. But then when she found out about his family's wealth like that, night and day difference, and the lengths she went to obviously try to get her piece of the action. And there's very important lessons to this story, guys. Number one, obviously, about gold diggers, the lengths they will go to try to get access to your money, your family's money, etc. You got to be careful. So if you are doing very well for yourself, which I hope a lot of you guys are either doing right now or on the path to doing one day, and you have a lot of resources, you must be careful. Okay, absolutely. There are those out there that don't give a shit and will do anything to get it. Number two, connecting to the whole what they'll do to get your money. Watch out, you must always wear protection. Wear your protection, dispose your protection, and basically inspect your protection, because there are plenty out there that will try to baby trap a guy and have access to his resources, like poking holes in condoms, amongst many other tricks of the trade to do that. Another one here is also don't flaunt your wealth. Guys, I want you guys to be secure in yourselves, that you don't need to go out and show off all your money and your wealth to the world just to make yourself feel better about yourself. Generally, people that do extremely well, they know they're loaded. They don't have to brag. They don't have to do any of that stuff. But the guys that don't have money, they're the ones that flaunt like crazy. And when you flaunt, that's like a big sign saying, come try to take advantage of me, to those that would. It's a lot of important lessons in the story. And you're definitely going to enjoy how this guy's story and how he handles this one young woman that tries to trap him. So it starts off, he says, hi SSM. This may be a bit short of a story than you usually read, but if you want, you can read it as a warning to others. Well, bro, quality versus quantity. This is a great story. It'll probably take me 15 minutes at best, but hey, everybody's busy, so 15 minutes, that's a decent sized story here, but it's really good, so of course I'm going to do it. He says, I'm going to be intentionally vague as to some location details, because I don't want anyone to figure out who my dad is, or who I am. I came across your channel and found your videos to be quite entertaining. I would like to say that you've helped me learn a lot about female nature and helping me take the RP, but that would be a lie. Honestly, your channel is just confirmation from the lessons I have learned from my father. And he says, by the way, I've shown him your channel and he's a huge fan as well. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you showing me to your father. Welcome, father. I am a trust fund kid. I know we have a bad reputation, mainly because of movies and TV, but it's just one of those things. When your father is very wealthy, I've always grown up around money and people who had a lot of it. Years ago, in 2004, I was living in, I had moved, and I was living in a different part of New England at the time, and my neighbor, I was 26 at the time, and he was 21, and he was a trust fund kid, and we got to be very friendly, and this dude's family was freaking loaded. I'm not going to mention any details about him or anything like that, but he was a great guy. He didn't flaunt it. He wasn't a jerk about it. He mentioned it later on, and obviously it was true, but I haven't known any trust fund brats, as you're all called, that were jerks, but I'm sure there are plenty out there. I'm sure there are, and you guys have known them. But the dude I knew was a cool guy and wasn't a jerk about it at all. So I'm hoping you're the same way. And I guess you are. Because of this, my father, after his second divorce, it cost him $17.5 million, has been my very own private tutor on RP knowledge. He's a sworn-off relationship and is now focused on his business, real estate, and not being serious about any one woman. He long ago got a vasectomy and now keeps a stable woman who I think is hoping to be wife number 3. Well, I'm glad your dad learned his lesson, and I'm glad that he's now focused on his purpose, okay? Since you're in your mid-20s, I'm going to assume your pop is like probably in his 50s. So your dad has got plenty of time left to live to expand his empire. And that's awesome. Good for you, Dad, if you're watching. He says, I've seen gold diggers come and go since I was 14 years old. And by the time I went off to college, I'd gotten to the point where 99.9% of the time I could spot them immediately. The reason I didn't say 100% was because of Jessica. Not a real name, but similar. This happened when I was in college. I was finally a senior in college, and I spent the first 2 years of college just fooling around, playing the field, and changing my major pretty much every semester. Fairly rudderless. I was partying at least 3 times a night at different clubs. Well, no offense, but you sounded like kind of a stereotypical trust fund brat at that point. But you're also young, and a lot of kids did that. When I met Jessica, I've been in college for 5 years, with a year to go. I had grown up some. I found my calling, which my dad was overjoyed about. He was convinced I was going to be in college forever. I was 1 semester away from my BSAE, such and such degree in architecture. She was a junior at a nearby smaller public college and was 3 years younger than me. She was everything I liked. Sweet, feminine, killer body, and most of all, smart. I'm going to probably say the most important thing on that list was killer body, young man. That first night I met her at the club. We danced and spent half the night on the open air patio just talking. She seemed so genuine. Seemed. We talked about the first meeting crap between college students, like majors, grades, likes, dislikes, etc. It was nice meeting someone new to whom I was just another college student. In other words, she didn't know about his family wealth yet, so she treated him normal. I gave her my number and mildly hoped she'd call me. Someone like that has a lot of options, as I did. I'd rate myself an 8, but she was definitely a 9. Dude, if she's 21 years old and you, in your opinion, her looks and her body, she was a 9, I guarantee you she'd have dudes line up down the street to hook up with her. So, oh yeah, she's got a lot of options. But then again, my man, you're also, in your humble opinion, you were an 8 at the time. And you got a lot of wealth, so you're going to have no problem, no shortage of ass either. She called me at some point the next week, and I remember just talking with her for 4 hours that first call. Or 4 hours that first call. So I'm going to interrupt real quick here and give a quick lesson. Now, this is not the dating and relationship channel. Let me make this abundantly clear. I throw out tips and suggestions as I've lived long enough and experienced enough. But you don't need to talk to her for hours and hours and hours on the phone call after you already met her out and did all that the first time. You can just simply invite her out for a date the next weekend and then get off the phone and go back to your studies or whatever you do. But by doing that shows her just how much you like her. And therefore, she has less to know. By then, she already knows a lot about you, so she might be less enthusiastic to go out with you and get to know you. Just a little tip. Don't need to do these long, hour-long calls, guys. Just tip for you guys that are dating relationships. Just, she called you. She liked you. She's chasing you. Just plan your freaking date to that one drink at the bar or a couple of drinks, whatever, because you already met her. And that's it. Not doing this hours long on the phone shit, okay? You could talk to her for hours at the freaking bar on your date. You should be on your purpose, on your grind. Okay, I had to get that out. After a while, we sort of became a semi-regular thing. We even hooked up a couple times, but she was okay with keeping it casual, as was I. This went on for close to 4 months. I have to admit, over that time, I had developed some feelings for her. Imagine that. You got yourself a 9 with a killer body, and she's feminine and sweet and genuine and smart. Then came the party. Now we're getting to the good stuff, guys. I made a major mistake. I invited her to a party my dad was throwing for his business associates. I was tired of going to them stag. Most of them brought you +1. So I thought, what the heck? Jessica's cool. I know. If you expected my dad to be the problem, you'd be wrong. Far from it. He was the perfect host as always. He was charming, a great conversationalist, and made her feel welcome. No, the problem was she saw my dad's house. Let's just say it's 10 bedrooms, 13 bathrooms, around 12,000 square feet on prime waterfront property with a pool, jacuzzi, dock, and a yacht. You could probably see dollar signs showing up on her eyes. You know, like cha-ching, and you see dollar signs like in a cartoon. Guaranteed. She's probably rubbing her sweaty palms together like, ooh-hoo-hoo, jackpot. So now, of course, things suddenly change. Shocker. Now she's calling me every night just to talk or invite me to hang out. Whenever we would get together, we'd invariably end up at my off-campus apartment, and she couldn't get enough of me. He says, I'm not an idiot. I always used protection and got rid of the condom myself. No exceptions. Good, brother. Very smart. She was putting on the full court press now, though no more casual. She wanted a commitment, and she made a point to tell me she had gone on the pill and wanted to try it without condoms. There you go. I'm so happy to hear that you knew darn well before, obviously, what happens and all that always wear protection, always dispose of your protection, and you're soon going to learn always inspect your protection before doing the nasty. Imagine that. Now, here, let's review. Before she saw his family house, right, you all heard it, they were casual, nothing serious, hooked up a few times. Now, after she saw the family house, the family wealth, a glimpse of the family wealth, she wants to see him all the time. She's hooking up all the time, wants to commit a relationship, and sex with no protection. This is not an accident. These are the lengths these chicks will go to get resources. Again, I didn't mention I'm not an idiot. I flatly refused to do it without a condom. I told her it was as much for her safety as it was for mine, and it was non-negotiable. She said she was okay with it after I was not willing to budge, but she let me know how disappointed she was. Disappointed? Get the fuck out of here. Well, she's going to find other methods to get her way and get what she obviously wants, is to get pregnant and tap into this family resources, because that's what's going on here. And by the way, you said you're non-negotiable. Trust me, dude, you have all the leverage and all the power now. Now, a week later, when I went to get a condom out of my nightstand, I noticed a small hole in the foil pack. I held up to the light, and there was a definite hole poked in the foil. I looked at the other two in my nightstand, and they all had been punctured. Who could have done that? Let's all think for a second here. Jessica had to have done it when she first got there while I was fixing his drinks. It was a brand new box, and I just opened it earlier that day and put 3 in my nightstand for tonight. No one else had been in my apartment. I was pissed. I immediately called her out of the bathroom and confronted her about it, telling her she was the only other person who had been in my apartment in days. She denied it first, but then finally admitted it. I'd love to see her reasoning behind it and her excuses. I, of course, threw her ass right out. Good for you, brother. She blew up my phone trying to apologize, but I just blocked her. I felt angry, betrayed, hurt, and honestly a bit vengeful. If there was a way to press charges, I would have. Apologizing. What the hell was her excuses for this? I would love to know that. Bro, email me again and let me know what her reasoning was behind all this shit and what she was saying to apologize. I have since seen her in clubs a couple times since then. She tried talking to me, but I refused to say a word to her. Good, because alcohol and a hot piece of ass could be a bad combination if you were a little too intoxicated. So, the lessons to be learned from my scary event. Number 1, women are amazing actresses. All of them. I'm guessing it's a survival mechanism. They've been putting on the show since Eve in the Garden of Eden, getting Adam to eat that goddamn apple. Number 2, always use protection and dispose that protection personally yourself every time. Yes, I've been saying that since day one, brothers, always. Number 3, inspect your protection before use every time. Correct. And number 4, don't get emotionally attached. I should have seen the red flag sooner, the change in behavior, wanting to do so without a condom. Yes, sir. I'll pay attention to all those things. At the end of the day, because you really liked her, you really clicked with her, and you were overlooking, obviously, some certain things, but, dude, you handled this great. You were, obviously, college age. You were light years ahead of most guys. But I'm going to go back to what I was saying in the beginning. Gold diggers. They're there, and they will go after guys with resources and wealth. This is a perfect example. Again, remember how she was, she obviously liked him, was casual, and then she saw that family's wealth, and it was like cha-ching, and she was after him. You guys must be careful. So for those of you guys that do well for yourself, or you're on your grind, on your path to doing well, right here, perfect example for you dating relationship guys. Be careful, okay? Don't be ridiculous flaunting your stuff and your wealth. Now, don't get me wrong. If you like to have a nice car and you can afford it and you're in a period in your life when it makes sense to have a nice car, obviously an expensive car, anybody with a brain could connect the dots, see you've got resources, okay, you can get your car. But you get my point about flaunting it and being so that everybody knows how much money you got. That's stupid, because there will be those that'll come out of under different rocks to try to take it from you. You must be careful. And the better you are, the more screening you got to do. And yeah, as you said there, women are great actresses. I have seen some in my life that could get Oscars for their performances, so you must be careful. And so, bro, really enjoyed your story, and I'm glad you learned, and just be careful. And going forward, if you're obviously a relationship guy, you must be careful. You must have a serious screening process for these girls going forward. And I know you know this, and I'm sure your father has made you quite clear about this whole thing too. So I wish you best in your life and your career. I appreciate you sending this story. Keep focusing on your grind, bro, on becoming the best architect you can be, and see where things go. You obviously come from a ton of family money, and you're obviously set for multiple lifetimes, but don't let that slow you down. I want you to be on your grind, your purpose, carve your own path. You got the family wealth and everything, but let me tell you, your dad is obviously a businessman and on his grind. Nothing will make him happier. Let me tell you right now, if you are the same way on your grind, whatever that may be, you're on your grind making things happen for yourself. And that'll be awesome. You'll have a great bond over business, So good for you, man. I wish you all the best. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below on what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.